What's up, guys? My name is Brandon. You guys can call me Swifterrs, and today I'm coming at you guys with a little bit of a different type of video. Today I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys a quick story time with Swifterrs. So basically in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the time that our house was almost broken into. Well, at least there was an intruder in our house for a couple of seconds before we scared him off. But it was a pretty crazy scenario, and I wanted to go ahead and take the time to pretty much explain what happened and bring you guys this story about when our house was broken into. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the video. As I mentioned earlier, this is definitely something that I'm not used to doing. So if you guys enjoy these types of videos where I tell a story, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Make sure that you guys like the video, because every like on today's video shows your guys' support for these story style videos. So with that being said, let's get started with the video, talking to you guys about the time that our house was broken into. Alright guys, for those of you who don't already know, I'm a second year in college and I go to a school called California Polytechnic State University. It's a state school here in California. I'm originally from San Diego, California, but I go to Cal Poly, which is located in San Luis Obispo, California. It's about 5.5 hours north from San Diego, about 3.5 hours south of San Francisco, so it's close to the middle of California. It's located on the coast. It's an absolutely beautiful school. I love it so much. Now, the town of San Luis Obispo is notorious for being known as a college town. About 60% of the town's population is college students. So that means when class is in session, when we're in the academic year, the town is very busy. It's full of college students, but during the summer, the town is pretty quiet. So, in general, college towns are pretty susceptible to high rates of crime, just because a lot of the time college students leave their doors unlocked, and that means people can easily break into these houses and steal stuff. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been getting crime alerts because everyone who's a student of the school is registered through these text messages and emails to receive crime alerts in the area. So over these past couple of weeks, the crime alerts have been pretty high. There's a lot of people who have been getting their houses broken into just because college towns are pretty susceptible to high rates of crime due to the fact that people always leave their doors unlocked. People get a lot of stuff stolen. It's not like these crimes are violent. They're pretty much just getting their houses broken into and stuff stolen. So basically, that's kind of essentially what happened to our house. So I live in a pretty nice house with a bunch of my friends. There's 8 of us. So I like to think that we're pretty tough big guys. We're by no means super jacked, super shredded, but we have some big guys living at the house. So if anyone tried to actually rob us while we were there, which is pretty much what happened, they would definitely get their ass beat. So this is essentially what happened. Now, just a little bit of backstory. This all started with an Uber driver. You heard me correct, an Uber driver. I'm not going to use his real name. Let's, for the sake of the video, call him Rodrigo. So Rodrigo is a pretty crazy Uber driver. A couple of my roommates had him the other day, and Rodrigo was making these odd comments. He's an elder man, probably in his 40s, maybe early 50s, so there's no reason why he should be hanging out with college students besides driving them around because he is an Uber. So my roommates end up calling him and they get him. The roommates are just going home. They're going to someone else's house. So Rodrigo, who is obviously an elder man, asks my roommate alongside a couple of his friends if he can come over and drink alcohol with them. So that's a pretty weird question to ask some college students that you literally just met and you're only driving them around because they called you as an Uber. So they tell him, no, I'm sorry, I think we're done for the night. He says, okay, that's fine. He drops my roommate and his friends off at their friend's house, and they're there for about 20 minutes. All of a sudden, all they hear is, who wants to take some shots? They turn around, and it's Rodrigo. He let himself in the house, and he's trying to get these college students who he doesn't really know to drink alcohol with them. They freak out. They tell him that he has to leave. He agrees. He ends up leaving the house. So a couple of days go by, and all of a sudden, it's midterm week. That means a lot of people are studying for their midterms for school. My roommate gets a call from a random number. He answers it, and all of a sudden he hears this. "Hey Kyle, it's Uncle Rodrigo. I wanted to see if you were going out tonight." My roommate didn't know who it was at the time, even though it was Rodrigo, his Uber driver from a couple of days ago. It didn't register with him, so he was a little bit confused. He said, no, we're just gonna stay in, we're gonna study. We've got some midterms." He hangs up. So a couple of hours later, I'm chilling at our house. It's about 11:30 at night. There's like 4 or 5 other roommates there. So there's about 6 people at the house. All the lights are on, we're playing music, and all of a sudden, one of my roommate's girlfriends who was laying in bed, she was awake, but she was laying in bed, she hears a door creak open. She wasn't exactly sure who it was. She thought that it was one of my other roommates returning home from studying, and all of a sudden, her boyfriend, one of my roommates, turns the corner from the hall, and down the hall he sees this dude dressed in all black standing in the room. He yells at him. He turns around, slams the door, and books it. My roommate tries to chase after him, but by the time he gets outside, the dude had jumped over the fence. He had ran down the side of our house into the back alley, and he was nowhere to be seen. So, that was a pretty weird thing that had happened. There's 6 of us at the house, our lights are all on, we're playing music, and on the other side of the house, because the house is a pretty big house, I guess you couldn't hear the music, you couldn't see the lights inside of our kitchen, but apparently this dude had entered our house and he was looking to most likely steal stuff. He was wearing all black, he had one of those ski masks on his head. My girlfriend's roommate saw this guy very, very briefly, but my roommate was the one who got a good look at him. He chased him out of the house, and by the time he actually got outside, this intruder couldn't be found. He had ran away, and it's a good thing he did because, as I said, there was about 6 of us at the house. We're some pretty big guys, so it definitely wouldn't have been a pretty sight for the intruder. But luckily, no one was hurt, nothing was stolen, which is good. But getting back to our Uber driver, Rodrigo, Uncle frickin' Rodrigo, how does this relate to him? So a couple of days go by and we're still kind of thinking, we're wondering who tried to break into our house, who tried to rob us, and then all of a sudden, it clicked with my roommate. My roommate had received a call from Uncle Rodrigo, his Uber driver, a couple of days ago, and that was the same day that our house was essentially broken into. So we assumed because Uncle Rodrigo had asked my roommate if they were going out tonight, even though they said no, they still showed up at our house because they knew where we lived, because they had picked him up a couple of days prior because he was an Uber driver. They called him for an Uber, which is why he knew our address. He had our roommate's phone number. So we assumed that Uncle Rodrigo, this creepy, weird Uber driver, had something to do with our house getting broken into. Whether or not it was Uncle Rodrigo or not, he definitely had something to do with a potential person intruding in our house. And it was pretty scary because what if the person had a weapon? What if stuff was actually stolen? Luckily, it wasn't that bad. So, of course, ever since that happened, we've been a little bit on edge about leaving all of our doors unlocked. We always make sure our windows are locked. We always make sure our doors are locked whenever we leave the house. It was a pretty scary thing because my roommate's girlfriend, she could have been hurt. People in the house could have been hurt, stuff could have gotten stolen, but luckily everything's okay, and now we make sure to carry katanas and baseball bats around the house when there's not a lot of us at the house, just in case Uncle Rodrigo and his boys try to come back to our house. Guys, that was a pretty crazy story that had happened not too long ago. I wanted to share it with you guys. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed today's story time video. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a pretty interesting and exciting story that I wanted to share with you guys. If you guys want more stories, please be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Also, I've got a ton of really awesome, crazy stories from being up at college. If you guys want me to share them with you, let me know. Be sure to drop a like, show your support on today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. With that being said, I'll be sure to catch you guys later.